Hello and welcome to my CJ 429 audio story, the place for all things impacting Wisconsin. I'm your host, Hunter Tullius. Come join me as we dive into some of our state's most impactful stories. Today, we will be investigating the ongoing discussion about reproductive health care, and we will be looking at the harrowing story of Rebecca Knutson and her daughter. In 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court chose to overturn the case Roe v. Wade. This case provided a nationwide protection of reproductive health care rights. With its overturning, the choice of those rights went to each state. Here in Wisconsin, the moment the case was overturned, a law from 1849 was placed into effect. This was law in Wisconsin for about a year, all the while countless protests against the law took place across the state. In December of 2023, this would all change, as a Dane County Circuit Court judge would decide that the 1849 law did not ban abortions, but instead banned the murder of pregnant women and or her fetus. With this court case, Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin would announce they were restarting abortions in the state, but only in a few major cities, like Madison, Milwaukee, and Sheboygan. After another year of operation like this, Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin would officially ask the Wisconsin Supreme Court to overturn the 1849 law in accordance with the lower court's rulings. But until this case is taken up by the courts, Wisconsin sits in a strange state of limbo, one that Rebecca Knutson finds worryingly similar. Rebecca's story starts back in the year 2005. She was living her life as a 15-year-old just entering high school, but even at this point in time, her life was anything from normal.
Everything was chaos already. My brother had committed suicide, so we were already in turmoil. And that just added to the turmoil. Everybody was sad and depressed and whatnot. And then you're even more sad and depressed because now this happened.
Living with such trauma at such a young age would be overwhelming for so many people. After the loss of her brother, Rebecca felt that she wasn't able to process the pain, and it led her down a troubling path.
I was angry a lot. I was hurt. So at that time, I drank and dabbled in some illegal drugs. Anything to numb the pain. You just want to feel numb. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to feel it. Everything hurts. Everything makes you angry. You're mad at people. You're mad at the world. You're mad at God.
Not even a year after the loss of her brother, Rebecca found herself in an even worse situation. She had become the victim of a rape, and worse, she was pregnant.
I was kind of devastated, sad, probably scared. And then right away I was like, well, I can't have a baby. So I wanted to have an abortion. But then I was not 18, so when I went to the doctor for the first time, the doctors told me I couldn't without parental consent, and my parents completely against it. And then the next time I went to a doctor's appointment, they said, we were wrong because of the circumstances, because she was the product of rape. You don't need parental consent, but you're too far along to do it here in La Crosse, so you'd have to go to Madison, which I didn't have the means to get there.
Rebecca soon felt the pressure of others' control over her. Being only 15 at the time, the few options she was given were just not attainable, and her feelings turned sour.
When they told me that I could not have an abortion because I was not 18 unless my parents consented, I was very angry because I felt like that shouldn't be anybody's choice but mine. And when my parents would not agree to it because they don't believe in it, I, for a long time, I held it against them.
During the long 9 months, Rebecca constantly felt scared. But as the day approached, she started to become more confident with herself and knew she would get through this.
It was a long birth. I was exhausted. But the moment I saw that baby, I was instantly in love. I had been looking through adoption books. Nobody had jumped out. And I saw the baby and I thought, I don't know if I can do that. And then Before I was even discharged from the hospital, I realized you're way too young to be having a kid. You're a kid yourself. You have to keep looking. And I found the perfect family, and I knew I was making the right choice, and it was the hardest choice I ever made.
What became of Rebecca's daughter, Carly? Carly's now graduating high school with her adoptive family. She always knew about her adoption, but still wanted to learn more.
As you get older, you kind of try and find yourself and try and understand who you are as an individual better. And so it's been a challenge to find my place in different family situations and have the relationships that I want to have with people, because the adoption makes it really complicated and really awkward with a lot of people because people don't know how to handle it or don't know how to go about it. So it's definitely been a challenge.
As she grew older, she wanted to find more deep connections with her birth families, but it didn't go exactly how she hoped.
I always wanted a connection with my birth family, and after a while, kind of wasn't working how I had always hoped it would. So then I reached out to my birth father's side of the family. He didn't want anything to do with me, did not even recognize that I existed. My siblings did, for the most part.
And even with the side of her family that wanted to know her and be a part of her life, things still felt strange.
I think things could have been done differently, done better. I think that certain people could have put more effort into things and made more of an effort as the adult in the situation to have a connection.
For both Carly and Rebecca, life has been a struggle, but they have both faced their hardships head-on. Yet both now fear for other women who might be forced to experience the same tragedies. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade, both Carly and Rebecca had strong reactions to the change.
Tragic, horrible, because so many people need that. That is something everyone should have the right to. And it's just really sad.
Since the case was overturned, Carly has become a vocal advocate for reproductive health care, even though at times it can be hard.
At times, yes, because it's complicated, because I could have been aborted. I know she's told me that was an option, that she thought of it, and at times I've been like, I wish she would have. But no, I think that for everyone it's kind of conflicting on both sides.
Rebecca felt a little different about the situation.
I do worry. I worry for all the women out there, especially in the really crazy states. I worry for young women. I worry for older women. I worry for anybody that is in reproductive age. We don't want to go backwards in time. And I feel like Roe v. Wade getting overturned kind of puts some states backwards. Like we're going backwards. And we should never go backwards. We should always be moving forward.
Even with this fear, Rebecca considers herself to be against abortions personally, but understands that they need a place in our society.
There's still that little bitterness that choices were made for me that I should have been able to make for myself. But now that, I already had the child and I've had other children since, I would say I have a pretty open view on it. I completely understand there are so many circumstances where that's your choice. And it should be your choice. Nobody else should be making that choice for you.
Both Rebecca and Carly wanted to leave a message for those who are or who might be in their situation in the future.
That it's okay. Everything's okay. Yeah. You're doing amazing, and I'm proud of you.
It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You're not broken. I think those are things I wish I could have heard at that age.
And with that, we've reached the end of our story for now. If you have any comments or questions for me, Hunter Tullius, you can email me at tuliusha7627@uwec.edu. This story was produced and voiced by Hunter Tullius as a part of my Capstone project in journalism at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Music and sounds used in this story were provided by Bensound.com royalty-free music and Freesound.org royalty-free sound effects. Thank you all for listening.